Welcome to the forefront of transformation. MSP+OS launched with a promise. Today, we deliver on that promise. Every day, every project. We're not just consultants. We are creators, innovators, leaders. Our journey has just begun, but our impact resonates. Together, we've turned challenges into opportunities and visions into realities. Now, we're ready to take the next leap, to amplify our reach, to elevate our game. This is MSP+OS. Visionaries, unite. Innovators, ignite. Leaders, let's conquer the new era of IT solutions. The future isn't waiting, neither are we. The live stream starts now.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of MSP+OS Unplugged. Right, I'm Adam Belansky and delighted to host another episode on Thursday this week, really diving deep into the remarkable talents our team has in our MSP world, right? Joining us today is Mike Williams. He's the Chief Financial Strategist at MSP+OS, who's played a pivotal role in bringing our five organizations together into an operational efficiency, through financial strategy in under 90 days. It's pretty awesome. So today, Mike's going to share some of those insights and strategic financial ideas and around how we achieve that and get to know him a little bit more. But one of the cool things beyond his professional powers, if you will, prowess, Mike is known for his 90-day RV trips. And just when I do live videos with him and so forth, you get to see that backdrop of that Airstream. So it's pretty cool seeing that. So with that, without further ado, I'm going to bring on Mike. How you doing?
Hey, Adam. Thanks for that intro.
Yeah. So Mike, I want to talk a little bit about your journey. It's been quite a bit in the space, MSP space. And so, coming into your role of Chief Financial Strategist, right? What brought you to that point?
So I think in there you just called me old, but anyways, so I started my journey back in the 90s. I have a degree in psychology, and I started off in neuropsychophysiology brainwave research lab. And back then we used to look at squiggly brainwaves were squiggly lines on paper. So I was part of the teams that were first digitizing those. And then I transitioned out of the psychology research into IT. I was fortunate. My dad worked for IBM, and he said, "Hey, there's this great new Microsoft technology for networking. You should go ahead and look into it." So I did. I went and I became one of the first Microsoft certified engineers in the state of Maine, back NT351, which few people probably know. But anyways, I worked.
I'm not dating you. That's you dating you.
Yeah, I know. So I worked for Computer Sciences Corporation doing collaboration architecture between Raytheon and General Dynamics and Avondale Industries. So very high level kind of architecture, IT work. And then a partner, Chris Claudio, a partner of mine that formed logically back in 1999, we said, "Hey, let's go ahead and do this for small businesses." So we just took the leap. I mortgaged my house. Time Warner was brand new in that day. We would jump out of when the Time Warner cable guys showed up to your business. Chris and I would jump out of the van with the cable guy and say, "Hey, you need a firewall." So back then, that's how we got started. During that time there, I served as the CIO of the largest primary care provider in the state of Maine for 7 years. But what we started to see and what really energized me is in around 2012, I started to look at the landscape and noticed that 35% of businesses had started in the early 90s or late 80s in terms of IT shops that were then transforming into managed service providers. So I thought that there was going to be a lot of consolidation in the market. And I went to my partners and I said, "Hey, either we're going to become part of a platform, or we need to start planning to be a platform so we acquire others." And that started our journey in terms of integrations, M&A. I was one of the first ones to integrate peer group members, which a lot of times now the different peer groups get together and they all form. So we were the first ones to do that back in 2018. In 2018, though, I got investment. So this is another part of the journey. So I've been there, the MSP journey from the startup, the founder, to actually performing work within it, to actually getting investment. So we got investment in 2018. I became the Chief Strategy Officer, and I was in charge of the integration management office and part of the deal team. So we did 14 integrations in 2.5 years. And
Wow.
as I started to phase out of Logically, I actually ended up buying the company that the private equity firm had brought in to actually build the integration management office. That the name of that company was XPM2 Partners, which then we just merged into MSP+OS. And the team over at XPM2, we're bringing in. I went through and I looked it up. We've helped companies on over 120 integrations. So tons of experience, tons of life to share. So that's basically the story about like how we came to be part of MSP Plus and where we fit into that puzzle.
That's impressive. And it's just 120 integrations when I think about that. And since 2012, when it sounds like you got your start and kind of that mindset, right? And that shift.
Exactly.
Then it sounds like first investment is 2018. So it's really probably since 2018, maybe that kicks off.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So part of that has obviously been some really big challenges. And so I'm just curious how the challenges that you faced, how you overcame those to be able to help shape your approach to what we do today from a strategic side of things.
Yeah, I think it's constant learning and improvement. There's that continual improvement model, feedback loop. So I'm not going to come up here and say I had all the answers. My superpower is like making tremendous mistakes and then sharing them with all my peers so we get a good laugh and then not doing them again. So I think that a lot of the stuff that we do is, again, that experience 120. Every time we work with a partner to understand their needs and how to maximize hitting those success criteria, we have that feedback loop that goes in and informs our processes, informs our playbooks, informs how we deliver service. So I think that's the secret sauce that we have.
The playbook. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so when you're thinking about your personal vision, right? And then how does that align with the MSP+OS goals? And then in what ways have you, really brought that and seen that manifest in our own organization and also client satisfaction and so forth?
Yeah. So my two, I tell everyone, my big things are trust and legacy. I count those as one, and then enterprise value creation. Those are the things that like are so important to me, and I find that I'm able to that actually helps in the products, the offerings that we're able to deliver to clients. So for me, I got investment. I phased out illogically, and my wife was like, "Hey, are you going to stop working?" And I was like, "I'm 52. I don't know." Like, I was like at a point where I could do anything I wanted, and I just love the MSP community. So I feel like I love to share, and I found that the more I share, the more I get back. So, that's what's kept me going, and that's what's really made me excited about like MSP+OS, is because here are 5 leading companies in the MSP consulting space, and I respect the leaders. I want to work with them. I want to learn from them. So a lot of people say like 1 + 1 is 3. Well, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 for me equals 10. And I love how when we pull this all together, now we're able to provide fantastic service that drives enterprise value, whether you're $500,000 in revenue or whether you're 500 million in revenue. And so we can help out all along the way. So that's like, again, why I'm in here and what MSP Plus means to me. But, getting back to one of the big things that when I sold, so I went through the experience, and again, not all my experiences were great. I had I don't think that my company that I got investment with, that our partners understood what trust and legacy meant. Like, I don't believe that trust and legacy can just be measured on a 1 month or a 3 month time period. I don't think it can be defined accurately within a spreadsheet. So when we're looking at trust and I'm advising people, I'm trying to help them make sure that, we are a service industry. Our greatest asset is our people. We need to invest in people. So how can we take the diligence and accountability of PE, which is very good, but also preserve trust? So that's that's what gets me excited. And at the end of the day, I'll get on calls. There'll be people in the industry that, people reach out and I'll take time and talk to them, share my experience and help them along their journey. Because again, so few people make it to that 1% that are able to I want more and more people. We devote this is a hard business. We devote our lives to it. We sacrifice family, and anything I can do to help other business owners get to that goal where they're financially successful, and then they're able to be proud in the legacy that they leave behind with their team. That's why I'm still here.
Yeah. It's been awesome. And it's sometimes the question pops up. It's like, hey, do you advise merging 5 organizations at once after been through it? And I'm like, it's a tough feat. I think it's, one piece is we have your playbooks has been huge and instrumental in enhancing those, because again, I think the MSP+OS, the first time any company's merged 5 organizations in such a short period of time, has been awesome, and creating that enterprise value. And so I want to dive deeper into that enterprise value and the specifics of your services that you offer. So Mike, could you walk us through maybe some of the key strategies that are kind of critical to, I know, merging our 5 organizations, but to our clients merging their organizations together in their, perceived short time frame?
I think that, we were a unique kind of 5 companies getting together, because what you do is with 5 companies, there's always at least 2 alphas within each company. So if you can imagine, there's 5 from one company. You can imagine getting those people together around the table to, first of all, find a fair value between all the different entities, and then align on a common goal. So I think what I think that my team is able to do is, again, because we're very transparent, we established that trust with each of the individual companies and gave a very objective kind of evaluation about that. People understood how these different companies come together. Once you get over that first hurdle, that okay, this is fair, what we're coming into the deal with, then we could start working on. That's when the playbooks come in. And what we did initially is you have to be very deliberate, and you have to set up a cadence and accountability. And then Sarah over at our company, who unfortunately you guys won't get to consult with because she's the internal resource for us, but she was fantastic in leading as our Chief Transformation Officer, fantastic in tracking, making sure that we had the highest priorities, and that we were actually, all these companies come together. We couldn't lose focus on producing revenue, but we have to do the hard work of integrating while we keep on growing. The worst thing that happens with any sort of mergers and acquisitions thesis is if you go ahead and you start to do a whole bunch of inorganic growth, and then all of a sudden you stop growing. You stop delivering great service. Your organic growth goes down. Then you come into the complications of integrations, and you get into a negative cycle. That's negative enterprise value creation. So that's what we do, is we help avoid those and bring in. You can't focus on everything within an integration. I mean, we've chatted it out. Our playbook has 1,900 tasks to do a full if that one's for a merger. But anyways, there are priority items that you need to focus on, and we can help you identify those so that you're successful with your integration.
For sure. And so let's talk a little bit about your day-to-day and your team, because I think that you have a lot of talent on your team that a lot of people just don't know what you do and the talent that's there. And so when you talk about your team, there's got to be some sort of focus on driving that integration forward without compromising operational integrity and also the financial stability of the merger. You want to talk maybe a little bit about your team members involved and what they do?
So I'll talk about the team members and then a little nugget for integrations that I think holds true. But anyway, so with the team members, so again, remember, this is not just MSP subject matter experts. These people that when I purchased XPM2, these are leaders from outside outside of our industry, because again, our industry is very immature and integrations have been going on for a long time. So we're able to bring in that expertise and that value from outside those lessons learned. So we'll have like, somebody who's doing HR, she's working on her PhD in industrial organization psychology, who understands culture, who's written papers on culture. So like that's like one team member. So when we're doing an integration, we break it up into functional areas. So HR is one functional area, an important one within our industry, and especially integrations. Culture is often where so our industry, again, I'm a technical guy at heart, going back through the years. A lot of companies initially doing integration think, okay, we're going to join M365 tenants and I'm going to merge ConnectWise, and within 30 days I'm integrated. And they have no idea that is like the technical part of integration. Integration is getting eventually, a lot of times culture is what actually leads in integration to not meet expectations. But you need to have culture. You need to have another thing that people don't ever think about is process. And then, so our core, when we're looking at, we want to be successful and scalable at again, doing multiple integrations, we're looking at the process of the company and and what systems do you have? Are they scalable and how well are they adopted? Because if you have, again, Adam and I were up on stage recently, if you add chaos to chaos, you get exponential chaos. And that's true. And then a lot of times you'll have 3 companies that just came together, or in our instance 5. And if there was somebody, say that we didn't have a process around procurement, and the lead of procurement walks out the door with all that knowledge, then you have people who have no idea how the platform is supposed to be operating. So we set a foundation with process and systems and data. So strong foundation, so that you could scale and be successful, so that you can realize those synergies, so that if you don't have process and systems, you have no chance at efficiencies, and you definitely don't have any sort of chance if you don't add data into that, at AI and in automation.
That is really, really critical. I mean, that is huge. And so, with that, we've done 120 integrations.
Yep.
Can you give us maybe a specific example that really, like, this is stuck in your mind of like, this is an amazing result from, where we came from, making that smooth transition through an integration?
So I'll take a step back too. I didn't go through, and like, I would say that, when I'm talking about the functional areas, so we're doing great things within finance. We're doing great things within, so one integration, we were actually brought into the due diligence, and the PE firm, who spends an incredibly high amount of money on due diligence and consultants. We came in as we were setting up the integration management office just before close, and we realized they were way off. They were out of compliance on HR compliance, and so it actually impacted the deal. So like our expertise, I'll say another thing. Like the team was brought in specifically, not for integration, but specifically because we're around business optimization that's bundled together in integration. We were brought in to help out by a PE firm, brought in to help out a professional services team. They were running at like low 20s in terms of gross margin. It was continuing to go down, and we came in there and they thought that they had the wrong leaders. It was a large team, about 20 people on the professional services team. We went through, evaluated their processes. We evaluated their leader. And we thought that the leader had the loyalty of the team. The team was going through transition. We thought that leader was the right person to bring, even though it was looking like the team was going down. We thought if you invest in this leader and help them out, that they were going to be successful. So anyways, we provided coaching for the leader. We established KPIs for project management and for deliverables of billable utilization. And within 6 months, we transformed that team so they were operating in the high 40s in terms of gross margin, which was above what the PE firm had in the budget. So
Wow.
Again, and then the PE firms coming to us because enterprise value. They needed their miss on that one critical side. It all ties back to enterprise value. And I'll tell you, like, Pete Sorensen told me back in, I think it was like 2013, I was Leaf from my tech and I were talking to Pete at a peer group, and we were talking about the CEO position and what a CEO should be focused on. And he had the answer. He asked Leaf and I what we thought the most important thing for a CEO to do. And we started talking about like customers and protecting our staff and like all these like really things that we felt in our soul that we were trying to do for our people. And he said, you guys are wrong. The most important thing for you guys to do is create enterprise value. And I was like, and I thought about that. And I looked at my company at the time and I focused on that. We had gone to market and we didn't get the multiple we wanted. We were valued about $8 million in 2014. Early 2015, $8 million. In 2018, about 2.5 years later, we actually got investment for 60 million. And I did that. I helped drive that like narrow focus was around enterprise value. And what that did is allowed me to invest in training, allowed me to invest in career development, allowed me to have the financials there's like a lot of times we make excuses for poor financial performance. If you are actually focused on that in terms, it doesn't mean you have to exit. It means that you'll be able to provide more of the things you want to your employees if you're healthy financially.
Yeah, awesome. And that's really, really key and critical is creating that enterprise value. And think about that, and also thinking about the PE firms. The landscape in MSP space is constantly evolving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And particularly in terms of mergers and acquisitions, right? What trends are you seeing impact the future of integrations here? What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah. So what we're still seeing, it's kind of funny. Like these PE companies have been around doing this for 30 years plus, and integration, like M&A has hit our industry. It's not going away. It doesn't mean you have to become a platform, but you should be looking at ways to, if you're not going to become a platform and do organic growth for yourself, you should be looking at how to position yourself in terms of how to maximize your value in case someday that you want to. But it's funny, you get, again, MSP leaders. We're a lot of us are we were either really good tech guys like me, or we were really good sales guys who are the other form of CEO. We're not like, there's like nobody's got like an MBA that started an MSP. Sometimes MBAs and business degrees come in afterwards. There's so few of us who have like a formal business training. And I would say that despite this, so what happens is all of a sudden we get investment. We become a platform. We get investment from PE, and there's no shortage of money out there. And all of a sudden these like immature business owners, myself included, have to do mergers and acquisitions, have no idea. Like, here's the big thing. What I think that we're working on to transform the industry is we're working on a system to help define what integration is, because there's no like a lot. So what you get all this money, you haven't even defined what integration is, and then you start doing integrations. How do you know if you're successful? How do you know what's being efficient? You lose out on so much. So what we do, and what we are hoping to move the industry towards, is taking that step back, understanding what integration means to you. Is it evergreen, where you guys are a federation, new charter? Like, is integration very light integration? Is integration some shared services, or is integration like full integration? The moment you come within 90 days, Thrive. Within, you're going to be on our platform. You're going to be selling our agreements, and we're going to deliver service the same way. I mean, that's full integration. They do a great job on that side. So what we're doing is like defining integration. Then we have the skills like no one else to do a capabilities assessment of the platform to see where the gaps are, also of the potential acquisition targets. Then we take, so we have the gaps, we know what it is, and then we look at your strategic plan, and then we work with you to develop success criteria. So what is success for integration? Then we tie it to KPIs so that we can help you formalize your vision, what integration is, and then help measure the most important pieces of that, so that at the end of the 100-day sprint, you meet your KPIs, and you know that you have a successful because the whole industry forever has been told is that over 80% of integrations don't meet expectations. That doesn't mean they fail, but if you look at the investment thesis when you're being invested, they're not meeting those. And I'll tell you the one thing, I'll ramble on for a second. The one thing I think is the most important thing, if you don't engage us, but you're thinking about doing integrations, the most important thing is sales. Sales is king. And then within our industry, I would say that the most important thing is to, before you do integration, make sure that your account management is strong. Make sure that your products are well defined, like a 1+1 kind of product catalog. Make sure there's not friction in the CPQ process. Because if you're a larger company and you start to bring in the smaller companies, if you have those three things nailed down, you can immediately do white space reports. So you can identify the products that you sell. You bring on that new client, that new partner who's a little bit less mature than you, and you can immediately start upselling into those clients to produce the revenue that will fund the rest of the hard work of integration. That's a tidbit. There you go.
Yeah. That's really, really cool. And so, Mike, today's discussion, with you has really illuminated, the complexities of rapid company integration, but also really underscore the critical role enterprise value has on the organization and also the leadership, right? Your expertise in leadership, has undoubtedly set a lot of benchmarks, and we continue to do that today and continue driving that, future vision. And I just want to thank you for sharing, those valuable insights and strategies. A lot of great takeaways, a lot of really awesome nuggets. And thank you for those watching us live as well, leaving those comments and engaging. This video will be posted. And don't miss next episode. Next Tuesday, I believe I get to be on with Bill Stucklin, where we continue to kind of explore the dynamic and innovative forces driving our company forward and get to know the people behind the scenes. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries, and when possible, create that enterprise value. And I look forward to seeing you guys at the next show. I think MSP Geeks is coming up. I think IT Nation Secure and IT Nation Grow and Automation Nation. So looking forward to seeing you guys all at that. Thank you, Mike. It's been awesome. Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Bye-bye.